Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. Sorry, we're starting with a little bit of a delay in the land of virtual meetings. We're running into some compatibility issues, but we are glad everyone could join us today. So my name is Monika Skonieczny, and I am the manager of the Trottier Institute for Sustainability in Engineering and Design, also known as SEAD, as well as the Brace Center for Water Resources Management. So a little bit about me. I am a chemical engineer by training, and prior to my work at McGill, I worked in the private sector as an environmental consultant. I completed my degrees at U of T and at McGill, so perhaps I was once where many of you are today, trying to navigate a very busy, packed schedule, trying to find interesting electives to fit into my schedule as I pursue my academic career. So we hope that this event today can help some of you maybe with that, if that is the situation you find yourself in. So some of you might know SEAD, but for those of you who don't, the Institute operates in the Faculty of Engineering, and we have four main focuses, those being public outreach, obviously research, policy, and education. And when it comes to the education piece, our mission really is to help train future engineers, architects, and urban planners in how they can incorporate sustainability in their profession and in their professional lives. So we do this, we try to meet this goal or try to meet this mission by running educational enhancement opportunities for undergraduate and graduate students. Some of you who maybe have been in the faculty for a little bit have heard of SEAD Talks, which is an enhancement program that we run for our graduate students. We also run in-class workshops, presentations, and of course, by offering some sustainability courses, which is why you are all here today to learn a little bit more about our offerings for the fall semester. So before we start, I just wanted to let everyone know that Professor Lakshmi Shishama will not be joining us today. Unfortunately, she had a last-minute conflict that came up, but we do have one of our SEAD staff filling in for her, who is very familiar with the program offerings in our institute and will be able to field some of the questions that you might have. And I also want to add that if there are specific questions about SEAD 550, excuse me, that you have, we can collect those questions in the chat, and we will follow up with Professor Shishama and get her to answer those questions. So please don't hesitate to put those in the chat when the time comes. So without further ado, we are co-hosting this event with SEAM, and I'd like to introduce Anya Kroon, who is the VP Academic of that group, who will be moderating our event today. So Anya, on to you.
Thank you so much, Monica. Hi, everyone. I know you can't see me, but I am here behind the screen. I'm quite happy to introduce these SEAD courses today. And without further ado, let's begin. So as Monica mentioned, I'm the VP Academic of SEAM. SEAM is a committee within the Engineering Undergraduate Society dedicated to supporting, fostering, and promoting a culture of sustainability within the Faculty of Engineering at McGill. Essentially, what we do is we offer events and also event consulting. So if you're having an event and you wish to make it more sustainable, you can contact us and we will help you do so. We also do seminars on waste management and life cycle analysis. And we're working with SEAD right now to talk a bit about what the options are for taking sustainability courses as an undergraduate and graduate student at McGill. SEAM in particular works mainly with undergraduate students. However, if you are a graduate student, feel free to message us if you'd like to attend any one of our events. Today's webinar is focused on introducing students to SEAD courses and how you can sign up for those and what the prerequisites are and what the course itself entails. Before we hear from our professors, I'd like to go through a few details. We'll be running a live Q&A at the end of the webinar, so please add any questions you have in the chat. If you miss anything, don't worry, we'll be sending around an on-demand recording when it's available. Before we start the presentation, I'd love to know where everyone is from. So we're going to try to send out a poll and just would like to figure out where everyone is coming from. Great. So it's looking like mostly everyone is from Montreal, which hopefully that means that it's not too late for anyone who isn't from there. Looks like 82% of people are coming from this time zone, at least Montreal area. So it's a bit gloomy out today here, but hopefully that when learning about these seed courses, we can maybe brighten your day a little bit. Plant a seed. Sorry for the bad jokes. But basically, to get started, we're very happy that you all could join us. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce the professors that will be speaking with us today. So first we have Ms. Kina Troll from SEAD 510 Energy Analysis, Stephanie Leclerc, which is coming from SEAD 540 Industrial Ecology and Systems, and Laxmi Sushama, which is SEAD 550. And as Monica mentioned, she unfortunately can't make it today, so she will be having a representative talk about that course, and any questions can be answered through her email. So we'll begin with Professor Kina Troll, who will be teaching SEAD 510 Energy Analysis.
Great. Hi, everybody. Thank you for taking the time this evening to join us. Unfortunately, I couldn't get my web camera working, so I'm going to be a disembodied voice over some slides, and if you just bear with me. So this semester, I'm lucky enough to be teaching SEAD 510 Energy Analysis. This is a course that's actually very dear to my heart because I helped develop the course starting about 4 years ago with Professor Jeffrey Thorson. And this is my first time teaching the course, but I was the TA, and like I said, I helped develop the course. And so I'm very familiar with the subject matter, and it is something that I care a lot about. When we were developing this course, Jeff and I were really looking at the energy system writ large, and we recognize that our global energy system is at this crucial point. On the one hand, we can't just stop using energy because energy is the foundation of how we do everything in our day-to-day lives. It's how we stay healthy and safe. And on the other hand, how we generate energy is the major driver of climate change. And we're also facing not just climate change, but also the issues like peak oil. We're running out of fossil fuels. Whether that's happening in the next 5 years, 10 years, or 40 years, we know that it's going to happen. Furthermore, we have this massive imbalance in terms of energy use. You know, developed countries like Canada and other OECD countries use far, far more energy. And so if we're really committed to the industrialization and development of other economies, then we really need to look at ways of generating energy and doing that in a way that it's going to minimize our negative impacts in the world. And of course, as engineers, we are really well positioned to do that. However, before we can start working towards a more sustainable future, we need to have a very strong foundation in terms of current energy issues, and this is what's going to enable us to address in an informed way how we can move forward in terms of alternative energy solutions. In this course, what I try to do is provide a very strong foundational knowledge in terms of energy fundamentals. And so these are the metrics, how we measure energy. Energy literacy. In particular, I want students to leave the course with a good understanding of the first and second law of thermodynamics, because I really think that this is the best way to look at the technical side of energy. And then of course we look at current energy supplies and the issues that are related to this in terms of the environment and the economy. I also do a little bit of work in terms of the relationship between energy and society, and to really underpin why energy is so important to us. And then of course, so that's like sort of the first half of the course. So we look at, in the first half, energy and society, basic thermodynamics, and fossil fuels, climate change, sort of all of that doom and gloom stuff, so that we really understand what the energy system is today. And then going forward, we look at how it could look. So we look for ways of generating power, and so we'll look at solar, we look at wind, we look at wave, tidal. If there's interest in time, we also look at nuclear. And then of course we need methods to store this energy in a secondary form, and how we can move energy around. And so we talk a little bit about energy carriers. So just to very quickly look at the concept map. Now this is taken straight from the first lecture. But really, in this course, what I want to drive home is that there is this relationship between primary energy, and there's really just two sources of primary energy, which is solar and nuclear. And as engineers, this is where we tend to spend some of our time, which is capturing that energy. And so this is what I was talking about in that primary energy generation. So here I'm showing nuclear, geothermal, wind, solar, and hydro. And then because alternative or clean energy sources aren't always where and when we want them to be, we also have to look at energy storage and transportation. And so of course at each of these steps there are these losses, and then finally we look at that useful energy that comes out of that primary energy source. And of course, in our course, because this is a sustainable energy and an energy analysis course, we want to look at how we can change this linear system into a more circular system. So finally, I just wanted to include the learning objectives here. And again, this is taken straight from, I believe, the first lecture of the course. So we will look at basic energy literacy. This is one of the major objectives, and this includes first and second law, what's currently happening with our energy mix, and of course what those limitations are. And we look at different ways of measuring energy and energy efficiency in a system. So we look at energy return on investment, we look at things like power density, specific density, energy density, greenhouse gas intensity, and we touch a little bit on life cycle assessment, which I think is also a very important tool. But in this course, you really just get a quick introduction to that as a concept. And then of course, we'll look at some clean power generation options and storage options. So that's all I'd had prepared for today. And of course, I'll be here to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Chow. Next professor will be Stephanie Leclerc, who will be teaching SEAD 540, which is a course in industrial ecology and systems.
Sorry, I was muted. So I have my webcam, but no slides. So different perspective. So my background, I'm a social scientist, and I have a master's in political science, a graduate diploma in management and sustainability. And I'm currently finishing my PhD in the School of Urban Planning here at McGill, and I'm working on e-waste management. And e-waste management is a whole area of research that is very much that is part of industrial ecology. So industrial ecology is an interdisciplinary field of research that focuses on systems and systems thinking, and looking at material flows, the material and energy flows that are arising as part of our industrial economy, and the impacts of those flows on the environment and on the biosphere. And so the course it's a very interactive seminar, so there's lots of reading and lots of discussions, and we look at the whole history, recent history of industrial ecology, going back to the Club of Rome and systems thinking about the planet being a relatively closed system with only solar energy coming in. And we try to look at all the different approaches that are used in industrial ecology to understand different systems such as cities, product systems, supply chains, energy systems, and food systems. And the methods that are used in industrial ecology are industrial symbiosis, urban metabolism, material flow analysis, LCA, which was mentioned before, and input and output flows. And so we look at, in turn, at these different approaches, and the whole point, I mean, industrial ecology, there's a very strong normative stance to it. The idea is to understand, unpack systems and material flows and energy flows and try to see how those can be modified and realigned to be more respectful of the environment. And so, and just to be able to understand them, inform proper decision making, and making these flows more sustainable and these systems more sustainable. So the students are exposed to different research areas and different research methodologies. Sorry, I'm French. I can sometimes have issues in English. We understand how the students will understand how industrial ecology can generate useful knowledge for policymaking, useful knowledge for better design, better industrial processes, and basically reducing the consumption of natural resources, and ultimately finding ways of decoupling growth and decoupling economic development and environmental issues. So, so the students get an exposure to interdisciplinary work, exposure to different research methods. They can practice their presentation skills because there's 2 presentations as part of this class, a short one and a longer one at the end of the term. There's lots of writing also involved, so 2 papers, a short paper and a longer term paper, and I give extensive feedback on the writing. And I think that the value of this course, or at least the feedback that I've received in the past, is that it helps students put things into perspective and understanding the systems that they are involved in, or they're likely to be involved in the future as part of their careers in engineering. So it basically gives them an understanding of complex systems and how they can interact, how they can influence and shape those systems and make them more sustainable. So yeah, that's my part.
Thank you very much. So next up, we are going to be talking about SEAD 550, which is decision making for sustainable engineering and design. I believe there should be a representative for Professor Lakshmi Shushama, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Yep, that's me. So I am trying to share my screen. And so I'll have my slides. All right, so I'm Gary. I'm working at TISET, and I'm sharing my screen, hopefully. So the course that Dr. Shushama teaches is called Decision Making for Sustainability in Engineering Design. And first question is, who's this course for? And this course is for everyone. The concepts that are taught in this course are applicable to all disciplines, whether you're in civil, chemical, or mechanical, because what she wants you to take away from this course is that at the end of the course, you are expected to understand the role of sustainability in engineering systems and design. Lots of employers that I talk to more and more than realized the role of sustainability in the bottom line of their businesses. And they want employees that understand sustainability and how it works in their business functions. So this is a good course where, as I said, you learn the decision-making tools and techniques that you are required to see how sustainable a project or a process is. So paraphrasing the learning objectives in a course, in this course, you're going to determine the sustainability, strengths and weaknesses of a process or a project. You'll learn this by, applying the decision-making tools and approaches that she'll teach over the weeks of the course. And I'll talk about these tools in a little detail in the subsequent slides. And at the end of the day, what we hope to create is a new generation of engineers that understand how to practice ethical and responsible engineering.
Great, thank you very much for that explanation. Oh, sorry,
No.
did not realize there was another slide.
Okay, there's like 3 more slides. So as I said, I just keep it on a high level and just talk briefly about the weeks. So in the first 2 weeks, you'll be taking a look at what sustainability is in engineering design, and you'll be looking at sustainable systems. So here you'll be taking a look at the sustainability of built environment, and you'll be talking about energy. In weeks 3 and 4, you'll be talking about modeling decisions and then modeling uncertainty. Because obviously, when we're designing engineering projects, we don't always have complete information. We have to make assumptions. And here, she'll be teaching us, methodologies where we have incomplete information. And what do we do when we don't have all information, but still need to determine the sustainability of a project? Weeks 5 and 6, we'll be going into LCA. We'll be taking a look at sustainable engineering design, and this might be your first opportunity to learn LCA, and this will be a gateway to other courses that SEAD offers. SEAD 520, which is of course completely dedicated to life cycle footprinting, or Professor Stephanie's course in industrial ecology, which also covers. Week 7 is the midterm. Week 8, 9, and 10, this is where we go into the heart of the course. So we'll be actually taking a look at a survey of different decision-making tools and methods. And here's a couple, you'll be looking particularly at 4 of them. Weeks 11 and 12 will be a review of game theory. And then weeks 12 and 13 is going to be the culmination of the course, where she will be asking students to come in groups of 3 to 4 students and work on a group project. In the past year, we were able to have a final night of presentations, and Dr. Shushan was able to have everybody presented in the concepts that they're looking at as a poster. Unfortunately, with the limitations of this semester, the online presentations will be more standard. The groups will be presenting projects in PowerPoint online. The good thing about this group project is that it's, as I said, it's the culmination of all the techniques and methods that Dr. Shushama teaches. So you'll be able to apply your learning. She'll be asking you to do a review of literature around theme. So you'll be taking what you've learned, apply it on a set of free papers, and show how the techniques and the methodologies apply. So, as I said, as you said from the pictures, last year was a very good experience for all the students involved. Unfortunately, this year we have to make do, but once again, it's a great learning experience. So those are the slides that we have, and I'll hand it back to Anya.
Great, thank you very much. So up next, we are going to hear from Leanne Campbell, who will tell us a bit more about her experience in taking SEAD courses at McGill. Leanne?
Yep, sorry, I was just figuring out the technical aspects again. So hello, I'm Leanne. I'm a U3. I'm in my 4th year of mechanical engineering with a minor of environmental engineering. I was involved with SEAM for several years, but I've also taken a SEAD course and I'm planning on taking a few more. And it was great to complement my extracurricular activities with sustainability with these courses, because sustainability is something that's really important to me. So maybe you're looking for something that just fits in your schedule, but I think sustainability is a really interdisciplinary topic and it's really relevant to engineering. There's so many challenges in the world right now, and having some idea of how that relates to your discipline, it will really, really help you in the future. So in the standard mechanical engineering curriculum, there isn't really much of a focus of sustainability. So I ended up taking SEAD 520, which is life cycle analysis. It's offered in the winter semester. I took this when I was in U1, which I was a little bit nervous about, but there aren't any prerequisites and it's very conceptual, with lots of discussions about the uses of LCA and different assumptions, the benefits and the drawbacks. So I didn't find that it was too much of a challenge. So if that's when you want to take it, I would suggest talking to the professor. They can tell you more about the course and if you can handle it, but don't shy away from taking them. If you're interested, I would definitely recommend taking one of the SEAD courses. It was really, for this course specifically, I found it really interesting to learn the basis of a tool that's useful to a lot of decision making other than just pure finances, which is what a lot of businesses run off of. And it was also a really small class, which was really good because the professor could easily take time to do activities and answer questions and have discussions, so it felt a little more personal. And the course was, like most of the SEAD courses, very interdisciplinary, so it's not focused towards any single department. So no matter what you're studying, I would suggest taking it, and I think it's very beneficial. Feel free to ask me any questions specific to the course or anything sustainability in general or any of the other SEAD courses. I have a bit of information about those. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Leanne. Okay, so up next, we're going to get into the questions portion of the webinar. And Gary, the research one of the research assistants at TISED, will be helping to answer these questions. So without further ado, let's get into the questions. So first, who can register for these SEAD courses?
Gary, your mic is not on.
Hello, hi, let's take two. So these courses are open to almost everyone in the Faculty of Engineering and some people outside. So within the Faculty of Engineering, the undergraduates, we accept all students from, say, what we call third year or U2 and U3. There's no hard rule about it, as obviously Leanne was able to take the course earlier, but as I said, we would like students to consider our SEAD courses in their third year or later because we believe that, you know, they'll benefit more from the courses if they have more engineering courses under their belt. The courses are open to also to graduate students and PhD students that have an MEng, an MArch, or MUP degree. Aside the Faculty of Engineering, our courses are also open to students in bioresource engineering, both the BEng program and the MSCA program in environmental engineering.
Great, thank you for explaining that. So you had mentioned that graduate students can also take it. What would the process of registering for these courses be if you are an undergraduate student?
Okay, so as I said, there's two different processes, one for undergraduate students and one for graduate students. But for both sets of students, we want them to go first to our website, mcgill.ca/TISED, and there's a section about our courses, and in this section there is an online registration form. So for the undergraduate students, students are required to obtain department approval before registering. This means filling out a course authorization form with your information and then getting a signature from your departmental advisor. We also accept digital signatures now in these times. So once you get this, then you can attach this digital course authorization form to the online form that we have at mcgill.ca/TICET and send it in to us. And then we'll get back to you to complete the Minerva process.
Okay, great. Thank you. And you had mentioned a departmental advisor, but I know that process differs a bit for graduate students. Could you now explain how the registration process differs for graduate students?
Yeah, of course. So once again, I said that graduate students, we also want them to go to our website, mcgill.ca/TICET, and fill on the online registration form. Here, the process differs. Here, we don't ask them to get departmental approval through an advisor, but we ask them to get approval from their research supervisor, or in certain cases, there's no research supervisor, then we ask them to get approval from their departmental graduate advisor. And then once again, once they have this approval, they attach it to the online form we have on our TICET website, and then it's the same process. You students send it in, and then we'll process it, and we'll ask them to complete the process on Minerva.
Okay, great. Thank you. And is there any permission that you might need from the SEAD course instructor to register for the SEAD courses?
No, this happens to be an artifact from before. So yes, you'll see it mentioned on the McGill e-calendar, but it's not required. The final decision to grant permission to students to register is given by TICET, and as an undergraduate student or a graduate student, you start this process by filling up our online registration form.
Okay, great. Just really quickly, I want to point out that there are two handouts included in this webinar, one for the SEAD courses available and another for the SEAD course brochure. So make sure to download those before you leave. Does anyone have any questions that you would like to ask the professors or Leanne or Gary before we move on? Or you could just write it in the chat if possible, and we will try and bring those up right now. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. Parisa, do you see any? Okay.
No, there's no
So-
questions. So
Okay, alrighty. Well, there's always, if you think of something later and you just would like to learn more about it, feel free to go reach out to McGill's TICET website, where there is more detailed information about the SEAD courses, and then you can also find the professors' names and hence their emails if you wish to send them questions directly. So before we finish, I just want to take another poll to see now, after this webinar, or perhaps before even, how many people are willing to now consider or maybe have decided that they would like to take a SEAD course during their undergraduate or graduate. Don't discriminate. Okay, great. So 71% of you responded yes, and 27% responded maybe. So, you know, I would consider those fairly good numbers. I'm very glad to hear that, and I think the professors will be as well. I just want to thank everyone so much for attending today's webinar. And as I mentioned before, the handouts are on, should be on your right on the control panel to download. And if for whatever reason that doesn't work, I'm sure you could find a link to it from TISED's website as well. And I just wanted to let everyone know that we will also be sending out the video recording in a link to you all in the next few days, so that in a few months, if you remember, oh yeah, I think someone mentioned that in the webinar, but completely forgot what it was or something like that, or if you want to share with a friend as well who can learn about what SEAD courses are available, you can do that with that link. If you have any further questions, please feel free to visit the TISED website or contact TISED, which is TISED @mcgill.ca. And I will try to enter that in the chat if I'm able to send that to you all. But if not, then it will also be, I believe, in the email with the link as well. And I hope everyone has a great night, and that I'm very glad to hear you're all interested in SEAD courses, and I think this has been very informative, and I thank all the professors and you guys for attending as well.
Thanks, Anya. Thanks, everybody.